In this episode, I talk all about marketing to get land deals. And when I'm talking about that, I'm comparing 2020. What were we doing in 2020 versus today? What is working today? What I'm seeing people doing today? What are we doing today to get the most land deals for our marketing money? This is a very, very important episode. Make sure you guys stay to the end. Other than that, enjoy the episode. All right, everybody, welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about marketing to get land deals, how it has evolved over the last 5 years. So we're gonna compare 2020 to 2025. What does it look like back then? What did it look like back then? What it looks like today, and how to make more money in this business with different marketing strategies. So first, let's start with 2020. Marketing was very, very simple back in 2020. And what it looked like, let's just do a little draw in here. What it looked like in 2020 was you'd send a piece of mail to a seller, and then they would call you back. We're gonna draw a little phone here. They would call you back on the phone, and then you would get a deal which would yield you money. Very simple. It was a straight line marketing. It was mailer to the person, to a phone call, to a deal. Not much happened there. There wasn't much more in between. It was direct mail, texting, cold calling. All these things were not a part of really people's businesses. So when we were doing deals back in 2020, it was simple. You send out 1,500, 2,000 mailers and you'd get deals back. Like, it was that simple in terms of the way to get deals within this business. And we were doing anywhere between a deal per every 2,000 to 2,500 mailers. Over the last 5 years, this business has evolved. Let's say that. A lot of people want to say it's more competitive, it's saturated, all these other phrases people like to use. But in reality, the business has evolved into less of a side hustle and more of an actual business. And when you're thinking about marketing and marketing channels evolving, a lot changes there. So back then, when we just had a piece of mail, blind offer, going to a seller, then we were getting deals in, it was pretty simple in terms of that. As time goes on, and the people who are still successful today have evolved into multi-marketing channels. And I want to talk about a few of those today. So let's go 2025. We'll go red here. Let's go 2025. And let's talk about just the marketing. So what it looks like, very similar as far as some things. So like, let's say we start with direct mail. We start with a piece of direct mail, all right? And then it goes to the seller. Again, same thing, seller gets it. The issue with this is maybe you send 2,000 pieces of direct mail and you only get 20 responses, so 20 calls. This is not like, there's 1,980 wasted leads, quote unquote wasted leads. So what you do with these people who don't respond, these unresponsive people, is you send them a text. So then we're gonna have a little phone here. We'll just call that a phone. And then you send these people a text out. And this is a text. Well, I'll label that there. So this is a text. So now these 1,980 people that did not respond to you are getting what we call a follow-up text. And again, this is just one avenue of doing this business. You can do these marketing channels in so many different ways. But then you have these 1,980, and deals can come from this initial spot. Deals can come from this follow-up, and now you have what we call a multiple marketing approach, where it's not just mail, seller, call. It's mail, 20 people call you back, you send out 1,900 text messages, give or take, and now you have multiple ways you're reaching out. And in these text messages, you reference, I sent you a piece of mail, wanted to see if you had any interest in selling your land. So let's reverse it here. So let's start with our text. All right, let's start with our text. So we're gonna start with our text. Again, let's just say 2,000. So these are going to our sellers. And then there's a lot you can do from here. You can do just follow-up. Like, let's say you have 2,000 of these going out, text messages, and then you send a follow-up piece of mail as well in your marketing channel, where you send another 2,000. And this is the direct mail. And in this mailer right here, you're referencing, I just sent you a text. I wanted to see if you had any interest in selling your land. And then again, deals can come from either of these spots. They can come from your texting spot, or they can come from your follow-up direct mail. So kind of reverse here. And all these different avenues come in. So when you are thinking about your marketing channel in 2025, you got to think, how can I yield the most out of my list? So again, in 2020, we're getting a one deal per, let's say, and if you guys are watching or listening on audio, I'm drawing here, YouTube might have a better experience for consuming this content. One deal per, let's say, 2,000 mailers. All right. So that was back then.
Real quick, guys, before we get back to the episode, if you're looking to get into land flipping, get your first land deal. We have helped so many people with our one-on-one coaching. If you guys want to schedule a call, learn more, hit the link below, landinvestingonline.com/consultations, schedule a call, and we'll help you out.
Now you pull a list of 2,000, you just send mail, you're going to be fortunate to get a deal. It might take 5,000, 6,000 mailers, but you pull this list of 2,000 pieces of data today, and you text them, you cold call them, you send a piece of direct mail. That's how the business has changed. There's so many different ways to reach out to these sellers. Last thing I want to touch on is one thing that we are seeing change in this industry is more personal touches. And what I mean by personal touches, you're not just reaching out with a very generic template. It's not a double window envelope if you're mailing. It's not just a generic template in terms of printing out a document and sending to them. More personal touches, handwritten stuff. We are seeing a huge increase in response rate on handwritten postcards, some other things like that. We are seeing unbelievable responses in terms of those, where handwritten stuff might get you a deal for every 1,000 mailers. And again, you combine these with different marketing channels, and that's where there is so much opportunity. All right, so last thing I want to talk about today, because I kind of gave you a lot in terms of this is what you can be doing. Like, what are my suggestions for today? If you're trying to start this business, if you're trying to go from brand new, if you're watching, to to making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Very, very realistic goal in the next 6 months, even if you are brand new. So for me, I think you need 2 marketing channels. I don't think you need to have texting, cold calling, and direct mail. I really think you need 2 channels, and there's a few ways to do this. For me, I really like texting and direct mail. One thing I do want people to go towards more is some personalized direct mail. So that's what I like. If you have 2,000 mailers, let's just say you have 2,000 pieces of data. I keep using this 2,000, so let's stay on it. You have 2,000 pieces of data. You're trying to get the most possible out of this. What I would do is 1,000, let's just say general, and now I'm writing, general mailers, 1,000 handwritten, doesn't look great there, but that'll work. 1,000 handwritten mailers, and then for both of these, after you send them, you're going to do a follow-up text. So now what you have multiple touch points, and with these handwritten things, with the more, and apologies if you can't read it, with these handwritten letters, they are going to yield so many more leads per mailer, essentially. For the 1,000 generic mailers, you're going to see about a 1% callback rate. For the 1,000 handwritten, you're going to see 4 to 6% callback rate. So you're going to see 40, 50, 60 calls maybe versus 10 calls. These are going to be more expensive. They're more custom, everything like that. But you test these different avenues out in your business. You see what's working, what's not working. Do A/B tests on what is and is not working, and your business is going to scale up really quickly. If you can find a way early on in your land flipping career, getting data on what is really working, what is really not working, and then scale that up, this strategy right here is going to work without a doubt. I love the handwritten stuff, the personal stuff, the touches, multiple touch points are what's important. And a lot of people ask me like what I would do if I was starting over. This is what I would do. This is what is going to get you deals, is these personal touches, being a good salesperson on the phone once you have leads coming in. But the biggest thing is you need more leads. And if you're just sending 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 mailers per month, generic mailers, and there's no other touch points there, your results are going to suffer. Can you be successful doing that today? Probably. But what I'm seeing the most successful people do in this business is multiple touch points. One thing I don't suggest is coming into this business and trying everything. Just trying everything. Handwritten, general mailers, texting, cold calling, email, ringless voicemail. Do not do that. Do not do that. Do a combination of texting and direct mail. It is the most proven, it's the most tested, at least in my experience, what I've seen people come in and be successful with. Stick to it for 3, 4, 5 months and the results will follow. If you guys are watching on YouTube, like this video, hit the subscribe button below. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on these different strategies. We'll see you next time. Thanks everybody.